Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about Quizizz and the different features it has, as well as walk you through a demo of the quizzes that I have created for my students in regards to fractions, because that's what our focus is on. More particularly, identifying equivalent fractions. So my target audience is my 5th grade math students. The target standards are listed there. Now it's important to note that identifying equivalent fractions and understanding how to make equivalent fractions is a foundational skill that students need in order to meet these 3 standards. And that includes adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, using their understandings of multiplication when multiplying a fraction to a whole number and a whole number by a fraction, and then interpreting multiplication as scaling or resizing. So when students are given 2 objects, they should be able to see the side equivalencies of those objects, which comes later in our unit. But again, this is a foundational skill that my students must understand in order to meet these standards. Our curricular goals for this unit include the following, for this unit and as well as the quizzes that I have created. So the students will be able to identify the factors of either the numerator or the denominator in order to find the missing variable of the equivalent fraction, which you'll see a demo of that in the quizzes. Students will use fractions as a strategy to add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators. So they need to be able to identify common factors to create like denominators to get the correct answer. And then students, of course, will interpret multiplication of fractions as resizing or scaling, and then we'll get into ratios later on in our unit. And of course, ratios are just another form of fractions. So Quizizz offers lots of different features for teachers and students. As an educator, there are so many already created quizzes that you can use on the platform, so you do not need to reinvent the wheel. They give you a quiz customization feature, so if you find something and you feel like you want to change a couple things about it, you can just change it. You don't need to create a whole new quizzes in order to meet your needs and your needs of your students. You can do live lessons. I've done both previously with ones that have already been created, where I just drop the link in my Zoom chat for my students. They click the link and it takes them right to the quizzes that I have started. And then you can also assign it individually. So our school also uses Google Classroom. So sometimes I will just drop the link as an assignment in Google Classroom, and then the students can just do it on their own. Which gives you the student paced feature, so you can eliminate the time that's set for each question and just kind of leave it open-ended so that students can take their time answering the question. Another really neat feature about Quizizz is that it gives you reports at the end of each one that you have your students play. It gives students insight on what their levels are. It gives you insight on where your students are content wise. It can work as a quick formative assessment. It's awesome because you can also download the reports that they give you and generate it as an Excel spreadsheet and then save that and use it as data later on. And then you can also, again, I talked about customizing your own quizzes. The one that I have created for this presentation I made from scratch, so you can I'll walk you through the process of how I created my quizzes. And then the bring your own device feature. Quizizz works on any device as long as it has a web browser available. So creating equivalent fractions, this is the quizzes that I have created for my students. First, I'm going to show you from the instructor's end, so our end as teachers, what it looks like. So I went ahead and shared it here for you, and I will drop the link in my presentation that I will add to the discussion board if you'd like to go ahead and look at this quizzes that I have created. What I did initially was go to create, and then it gives you an option of doing a lesson or a quiz. I did a quiz. And then again, it's a game feature, so students don't look at it as a quiz. They see it more as a competitive platform for them to, be engaged and get excited about. So that's what I did there. You can start a live session or you can assign it as homework. In this case, the link I have provided in my presentation, I did as a homework link so that students can click on it and work at their own pace. The really cool feature about Quizizz, I'm going to head to the edit feature really quick just to show you what's really neat when you create a Quizizz. Especially for math, I love this, is the math equation feature. So if you click on that, it gives you all of these mathematical functions that you can use. I love the fact that I can add fractions written as fractions as opposed to using the backslash button. So I could write, 3/4 and it comes out as a fraction as opposed to doing 3/4. Sometimes that confuses kids. They need to see fractions written this way in order to understand that it's a fraction. So that's how I did it. And then you could use the variable x. And then down here is where right here is where you enter your answer. So you can also add alternatives depending on what subject you teach or what content you teach. If you're doing a synonyms lesson and you need multiple answers, you can add that there. Of course, in math, it's very objective. So I just added one answer. Another cool feature is you can add audio, video, and images to this as well. And you'll see, I'm going to go ahead and publish this. You'll see that you can also add a read aloud feature as well, which is awesome if you have lower readers or students of lower grades. So this is what it looks like. Here are all of the questions that I created. I added 120 seconds to each question. Again, you can eliminate that if you feel the need to. It's up to you as a teacher. This particular quiz has 13 questions. I'm sorry, it has, yes. Actually, it's 12 questions, but 13 slides. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my presentation and go to the students end. And again, when you provide the students the link, they don't really need a code to get in. They just put their name here. I already started this just to make sure that it had worked. But what will come up here will be a box where they just enter their name and they press start. So if I press start over, again, this is what it would look like. My name is there. I'm going to press reattempt. It wouldn't be a reattempt for students. It would just be a new start. So I'm going to go ahead and press yes. So again, there's music in the background. You can turn that on or off. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off just for the sake of the presentation. For equivalent fractions, students will have the prior knowledge of being able to find common factors that will create, give them the answer. So if students look at this, we would have already learned that whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do the denominator and vice versa. So here I see that 5 and 45 are my denominators. So I know that 5 times 9 equals 45. So I'm going to tell myself that 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm going to go ahead and press 27 and submit and go to the next question. Cool sound effects. Here are the point values. If multiple players are playing, the leaderboard will show up after each question. 6 times 8 is 48. So 4 times 8 is 32. I'm going to do the next question where I get the wrong answer just to show you what it does. That's the sound it makes if you get a wrong answer, and then it'll show them the correct answer underneath. So 3 times 6 equals 18. So the 4 times 6 is 24. And if I wanted students to show their work, I would just have them do it on a piece of paper and then upload a picture of their paper on Google Classroom. So 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6. And up here it gives them a tracker of where they're at. 1 times 10 is 10, so 4 times 10 is 40. Again, what they do to the numerator, they do to the denominator. So that is the student end of the game. It's really neat. Again, all your students will show up on this leaderboard. And then at the end, you as the educator gets a generated score of all your students' scores, and then you can generate that as an Excel sheet and save it for data. So that's something really neat. Again, I will upload this presentation to the discussion board so that both of these links are available to you. Now, the benefits and challenges of game-based learning. Of course, anything that comes with a benefit comes with a challenge. I feel like the benefits outweigh the challenges, especially in day and age where we are learning online and students are becoming more and more apt to working with these types of resources. So you definitely increase student engagement anytime any type of game or competition is involved. Um, you, especially with math, you are looking for mastery, you're looking for specific responses, you're promoting friendly competition, and then the students can track their own progress, which I really, really love because it allows them to be responsible and just to kind of be aware of where they are at academically. With games, I feel like students tend to rush through the material that's presented just because they want to race to the end. So I have to remind them to slow down, take their time, and at the end of the day, I really want to see if they just understand what is being taught. Um, Another iffy thing that can happen with game based learning, like quizzes, is if you enter specific answers, sometimes students might enter an extra space or an extra letter or an extra symbol or notation that can distort their answer and give them the wrong answer, even though the answer they put may have been correct, just written differently. So that can ruin, decrease their score when maybe they understand the material anyways. And then in order to develop these types of games for students, you really need to be vigilant of meeting the needs of your learners and then engaging your students, and as well as responding to the curriculum and aligning everything to the outcomes and the standards that you want your students to meet. The future of gaming in education, I believe that gaming will play a large role in the future of education, especially as students become more fluent with the use of technology. A lot of our learners today are accustomed to gaming environments as it is. I mean, our students are constantly playing with Roblox and Fortnite and all these intense, in depth games. So I think as soon as you tell students that we're going to play a game, they instantly become engaged. And that's a way of increasing engagement and participation. Gaming in education is based on a foundation of students who love to play video games and students who want engaged learners in their classroom. So it's really just a perfect recipe for nurturing the academic realm that we are in right now. And there are so many resources for educators out there, and they provide, again, so many benefits for both students and the teachers. Students can, like I said, learn to track their own progress, and they receive quick feedback on how they're doing. And this allows you to really look at it as a formative assessment and be able to build your lesson from there, whether you need to reteach or provide additional practice or enrichment opportunities. And again, they provide so many neat settings and tools within the games that you can differentiate to the needs of your learners. And I hope this was really, really informational for you guys. If you have any questions about Quizizz, I'm more than happy to help answer them. Just leave me a comment on the discussion board or email me, whatever works best for you. I highly recommend using it. It's free. There is a higher upgraded version that you can pay for, but the free version provides so many settings and features that you really don't need the paid version. So like I said, I hope this was beneficial. I'm looking forward to learning about other resources through you guys as well. Have a great day.